The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. A man came sent by God. His name was John. He came as a witness to speak for the light, so that everyone might believe through him. He was not the light, only a witness for the light. This is how John appeared as a witness. When the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" he not only declared, but he declared it openly, quite openly. "I am not the Christ." Well then, they asked, "Are you Elijah?" "I am not," he said. "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." So they said to him, "Who are you? We must take back an answer to those who sent us. What have you to say about yourself?" So John said, "I am, as Isaiah prophesied, a voice that cries in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way for the Lord.'" Now these men had been sent by Pharisees, and they had put this further question to him: "Why are you baptizing if you are not the Christ, not Elijah, and not the prophet?" John replied, "I baptize you with water, but there is one standing among you, unknown to you, the one who is coming after me, and I am not fit to undo his sandal straps." This happened at Bethany, on the side of the Jordan where John was baptizing. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, good morning. Today we celebrate Gaudete Sunday. Gaudete, Latin word for rejoicing, rejoicing. That is why the pink candle is lit, because we are halfway down the aisle. We are almost there. We are almost there. Almost there for what? Christmas. Christmas. But in our hectic day, in our everyday life, we're running here, we're running there. I've got to check this list. I've got to make sure the ham is done. The family is coming. I've got to make sure that the presents are there. The kids are like, "I've got to make my Santa Claus list," but only if you're nice, not naughty. And all this preparation is going on. But yet somehow, in the preparation, it's almost like the Home Alone, the Home Alone movie. We forget the kid. What kid am I speaking of? The most important one. Why we do all this running around and going crazy and making sure that everything is perfect for that one night. For that one night. And the Lord is asking us to make sure that everything is perfect in our own hearts. Are we prepared? Are we prepared to receive what we are about to receive on that Christmas night? Are we prepared? And brothers and sisters, friends, don't think that I'm preaching to you and I don't apply this to myself. It's an interesting thing when they ordain you a deacon, they say walk the walk and talk the talk. It's a reality. It's a reality. But in the midst of a world, just read the papers. Look at the financial settings that we're in. But we take more stock in that than we take stock in what's about to take place and what has taken place. The reality that God, the creator of the universe, God, the creator of the universe, came down, emptied himself into one of us. Kind of sounds strange. It almost sounds like a science fiction movie, like an alien movie. But it's the reality. Why? Why? Why would God, the God of creator of time, the God who is outside of time, why would God empty himself into one of us? This. That feels pain, that feels, as long as you get older, aches, migraine headaches. This body. A body that is prone to sickness, a body that is prone to disabilities, mentally, physically. Why would God choose to? Wouldn't God just come down, step in and say, I'm here? God chose to empty himself. I like that word, empty himself. There's another saying, there's another reading that says God grafted himself onto the human person. It reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother could stick her thumb in the ground and something green would come out. She just had that gift. But God grafts himself onto us. He grafts himself onto us. Why? Kind of quiet. I love. Out of love for you and for me. God's love searches for us. Did you ever think about that? We think we're the ones looking for God. God's not hiding. We're the ones that walk away from God. God is the pillar. God is the pillar of strength. We walk away from God. I was in a church last night in Coryell, and I liked how the church was laid out because it's all open, the doors open. Of course, there's no air conditioning, lots of mosquitoes. And but you can see out. You can see out. And so I was sitting in the main chair, and it was on a hill, and you could see out the road. And I kind of imagined that's how God waits for us. Kind of sits at the porch, just waiting to see when my boy or when my girl is coming home. When will I see him again? Because you know, the minute I see them, I'm going to jump up, I'm going to wrap my arms around them and tell them, you're home. You're home. And that's what God does with us. That's what God does with us. God waits for us. God's love searches for us. A God that comes down, grafts himself, enters into human history out of love for you and for me. Because God's love does not want us to think that he cannot identify with any of our problems, with any of our anxieties. Anybody remember the agony in the garden? The anxiety that the Lord was riddled with? The cross? The pain that the Lord must have endured, or did endure, by the crown of thorns and the steel that went through his hands? A God that can relate. A God that can relate. This is why we rejoice. This is why we rejoice, because we have hope. We have hope, and it comes from a hope that having with a relationship with the risen Christ, with the Christ that has come into the world, a relationship so strong that no matter what comes our way, we still have that hope. Doesn't mean we're not going to have bad days. Doesn't mean the pressures of the world do not get to us. Does not mean that we're not going to go through depression or relationship problems or some bad news that we get. But that because we have a relationship with Christ here, that's our foundation. That's our anchor. That the world can crash in, but yet, right here, I know I have hope. And that's today's message. Gaudete. Rejoice. Rejoice. We recently went to see the movie Star. And it was a good movie. It was a good movie for kids. I enjoyed it. It was nice just to kind of relax and just kind of let your mind for kids. But it's good just to let your mind relax and just not having to think about much and just enjoy. But you know, the manger scene is there and the light's there and this brilliant light and the expectation because of the star, this brilliant expectation on the manger. You know, and Jesus is not even there yet. So once Jesus gets placed in the manger, you know, the star is there and the light. I want you to ask yourself this Christmas, what do you want from the Lord? What is the gift that you want from the Lord? What do you want to take? I want you to, in your mind, put yourself in the story of Christmas. When you hear the readings about Mary, Jesus, Joseph, everybody that came, put yourself in that story. It's called Lectio Divina. It's a good way to get into the story. Put yourself as a bystander. Look at that crib. When you come up to the crib, when it's your turn to come to the crib, what are you seeking from Jesus? What does Jesus need to do for you this year, this Christmas, to transform, transfix your life, to have a relationship? Did you hear me? A relationship. Not just come to Mass. Anybody can come to Mass. Anybody can come to Mass. You can check the box. Oh, I went to Mass. So what? But did it transform you? Did it transfix you? Did it make you a better person to proclaim Christ to the world? And I'm not saying you have to be a TV evangelist. I'm not saying you have to be on the street corners. But by your life and by your example. Father, this talk is for you too. Because I get beaten up by the world too. So when we approach this Christmas to the manger scene, what is it that you want for Christ this year? Is it a more loving heart? To be patient with that person that drives you absolutely mad? To the people on the road that make you curse? What is it that you want from the Christ child this year when you peer in to the manger? And ask him. He's waiting for you to ask him. But you have to come with an open heart, a heart that is ready to meet the Christ, the heart that is ready to be transformed, transfixed. Because sometimes we like, sometimes the way we live. I don't want to change. Christ is asking us to change. So this joyful, rejoicing Sunday, we are almost there, but not yet. We are almost there, but not yet. Ponder, reflect. What is it that I need from Jesus? What is it that I need from Jesus this year? And never forget that God's love has pierced the world. God's love has pierced the world and has overcome sin, has overcome death. And that, brothers and sisters, is our hope, is our hope. Because it happens every single day at this altar. Every single day, Christ comes to us. And sometimes we're just kind of complacent. And Christ is asking us to get him to know, to get us to know him a little more, a little more, a little more. So give thanks to God for sending himself in the person of his Son to save us and to give us hope as we get ready to rejoice at the birth of his Son. God love you.